Welcome to another episode of But Wait, There's More, filmed here at Silver Wolf Comics and Games. I'm Hans, this is Ray, and where we left off in our last episode, things had come to a fiery halt for the hunting lodge
Again.
folks. Yes. Our propensity for fire displays itself. And from there, our merry band of adventurers moves on to the next section of the adventure. And they come to a town called Parnast. Now, there's nothing really special about Parnast. You know, it's kind of the next waypoint for the cultists. But what is special is just outside of town, there is a floating castle. Now, this castle is run by cloud giants, and they're kind of in cahoots with the cultists. They're just almost like allies of convenience. They're not really tight, but at the same time they're working together.
Yeah, there's a means to an end going on in the whole deal that they're dealing with in the castle. Now, we've just left a smoldering mansion. A shame, but it had to happen. Now,
Had to happen.
Had to happen, of course. And after going hither and yon over hill and dale, we come upon the town. Now, it's not much of a town. It's more of a wide spot and a narrow road. But, of course, luckily, there is a tavern.
And they go in the tavern, and
Of course.
of course, and they're looking to get some rest because they had just gone through some pretty big fights just getting to this town, and so they want to recharge their spells, heal up a bit, this, that, and the other.
Beer,
of course. Got to get that tankard of ale.
One.
Multiple.
Carry on.
Anyway, booze, lots of booze. And so various people decide to do various resting things, like get a room, keep on the lookout. You always want to have those one or two people to keep an eye out just in case something should happen. So the majority of the group decides to get a room at the inn and sleep it off and recharge and whatnot. Well, our special little druid, Owben, decides to go be a very druidy person and sleep in a tree. Be close to nature, recharge those batteries. One problem. He doesn't tell anybody where he's going or what he's doing. Much less me. I mean, he tells me that he's going to go sleep in a tree, but he doesn't specify what tree. Now, there's a map, and, I've shown them the map, and he could have come up and said, I'm going to sleep in this tree or that tree. It's like, oh, tell my party members where I'm sleeping. He could have done any of that.
Not to interrupt, but you notice in the beginning of the description, the glasses came off. Is to relieve pressure at the temples.
Yes, this was one of those moments where Fergus's Mutual of Faerun character would come in because the Clint Eastwood vein popped up.
Just showing the DM in his natural environment. Again.
Well, I took advantage of this and I picked a tree that he was sleeping in. Since he didn't specify, I chose one.
It was a nice tree.
It was beautiful. But the problem was nobody knew where he was at. Which is a big problem because shortly after they get into their resting period, they see that a bunch of people one of the lookouts sees that the cultists are moving a bunch of boxes from the town to the castle. And from what they can tell, the castle is not going to be there very much longer.
The funny part is, at first glance, due to where you stand in the town, the castle looks like it belongs there. I mean, there's the front gate, etc., so on, the battlements and all of that, and a group of people carrying boxes and all this other stuff. Now, you've got people scattered here and there doing either their woodsy thing or trying to rest after a number of fights that have piled up over time. And earlier on, we had managed to come up with a banner, a sigil, as it were. And now this is an identifying thing. Now, we had it, but we weren't waving it around when we came into town. So, well, when it finally gets brought out, all of a sudden, all these people that were just kind of living with us, they really weren't catering one way or the other. All of a sudden, they realize, well, it's a good thing you're here. They're about to leave. You better get going. Uh-oh, now we got to try and gather everybody.
Which isn't that hard for the majority of the party because most of them are at the tavern either drinking or resting. And
on the roof beams.
Or, in the case of Turin, our ranger, who had managed to procure some spider climbing boots, he ran up on some roof beams and he was sleeping up there. That was fun because in the waking up process, he fell off the roof beams. So
and landed in the middle of the common room.
Good times.
He walked it off.
It was okay. And then, so they gather everybody up and thought, oh, well, let's get in line for, hauling these boxes, the last few boxes onto the castle. They have this password that they learned from somebody previously, Talus from the hunting lodge, which they burned down. And so they get in line, but there's one person missing, Owben.
That's when the question comes up, where's Owben?
Where's the druid?
And then comes the next words, oh, crap. And now we got to go look for him. And as a player, it can be difficult to differentiate between in-game and above board in a situation like this. You know he's somewhere, but you're a player. You know he's over there someplace or over there. But if you're a dwarf 3 tankards in, and now, oh crap, the castle that we're supposed to be sneaking into is leaving, which in and of itself is kind of a mind bender. They say, oh crap, where's that kid? We gotta find him.
Yeah. So Fergus, he tried for a little bit, and then Muriel, the good-hearted rogue assassin, strange, being that Jackie, who plays Muriel, is Matt's mom, she's like, well, I guess I'll go look for him. Everybody else is in line, and she's like, well, she tries to save her son, and at this point, even the players didn't know where Owben was. They couldn't do the, oh, well, I know this above board, I'm going to find him, luckily. Like, no, I knew. Nobody else did. Even he didn't know. And so she goes looking for him, and she goes, a little bit around town and just can't seem to find him because she never goes to the spot where he actually is, which I placed way on the other side of town.
Near Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
And anyway, hey, we're leaving.
So
gotta go.
So she runs and grabs her box and, runs through the gate, says the little password to keep from getting squished by some golems, and the castle takes off, at which point the big rumbling sound of a
few 100,000 tons of rock flying.
Yeah, wakes Owben up. And so he wakes up, he's like, oh no! The castle! It's flying away!
Those jerks left me!
And now, even in the story, it was possible for the party to not arrive in time. And so there was a way to try and catch up with the castle. And in this case, it is a stable where there are wyverns. Now, wyverns are semi-intelligent, draconic type creatures with tails like scorpions. And they can be kind of a nasty mood. But at the same time, you can use them as a mount. You can ride these things. And so this was a way for party, should they fail to get there in time, to catch up with the castle. So I had a means for getting Owben back with the group. Now, I had to kind of guide him to this solution, even though the group had earlier noted the stables where they'd heard some wyvern-like sounds coming from.
Well, it did smell kind of like wyvern poop. It's very pungent.
Because wyverns and horses smell different.
Much
Different.
But
It's the diet.
But hearkening back to, I believe it was early in episode 1, we mentioned that when people generate their characters, there are choices on what languages they can speak. Now, this is really neither here nor there when you're dealing with the people that you're playing with, because we all speak English or some variation of it, bad English, common, but there are other languages. You may speak Elven, you may speak, High Dwarf, you may speak Gully Dwarf, or Draconic. Now, it's one thing if you've never ridden this kind of animal, but if you can talk to it, you could just say, okay, I don't know how to ride something like you. Can you be gentle? And if the animal's in a good enough mood, it'll be, okay, pile on. And it's going to be careful, and off they go. But.
Big, hairy butt. So Owben saddles a wyvern and manages to get it to start flying. Well, he has to start making animal handling checks to see if it'll go in the direction that he wants. And he's succeeding, he's failing. Basically, the animal's being ornery. He's like, I don't really want to listen to you, and he kind of pulls him back on course. Well, Owben decides to speak the little Draconic that he knows and speak to the animal. How should I say this?
Him speak of broken English.
Yeah. You ever seen those movies, bad cowboy and Indian movies, where the Indians just, oh, you go this way, much meat. He does this to this animal, who is semi-intelligent. He's like, much meat, that way. And as the DM, I'm like, you're really talking to this semi-intelligent animal as if it were stupid? So the wyvern kind of looks over its shoulder, is like, oh, really? And proceeds to do a barrel roll. Now, this is just me having a little bit of fun, and I'm describing this happening to this child, and Matt has this thing about interrupting me. He whenever he gets himself into a sticky situation, and I'm describing it, he jumps in to try and circumvent whatever I'm saying. So in this case, I tell him that the wyvern does a barrel roll, at which point he interrupts me and he doesn't let me get out, that his foot gets stuck in the stirrup, and so now he's just dangling. And that would have been fine. He would have made it the rest of the way to the castle, because I didn't want to spend all day on this, and so
it would have just been a mildly embarrassing landing, and a couple of the cultists, somebody would probably be like, nice landing, kid. And that would have been the end of it. But
there's more. So he interrupts me. He's like, okay, well, I summon 24 pigeons or something, some small avian of some sort
to catch him.
To catch him. Now, again, okay. The spell really doesn't work that way, but I kind of want to see where this goes. So now, because he interrupted me and didn't let me finish that his foot was stuck in the stirrup, he is now free-falling from very high up. And
very.
And he is trying to get pigeons to catch him. Now, at which point I asked, what is the load-bearing capacity of a pigeon? For you Monty Python fans out there.
It's more than a European swallow.
Yeah. Well, to kind of bring the game back into line, I said, okay, I don't think the spell works that way. We figure out how it works, and instead he summons 2 giant eagles. Great. Okay. Well, now you have 2 giant eagles who have to try and dive bomb and catch a falling person who's probably close to reaching terminal velocity. So now they have to make attack rolls to try and catch him.
Well,
because you got to do something. They can't just succeed. Ha ha! You summoned these eagles. It's so easy. They caught you and they fly you to the castle. No, no. So they make their attack rolls, and because of the difficulty level,
And the flying squirrel problem.
well, that comes in later.
Well, it's I've jumped the gun a little bit, but it does become an issue.
So the Eagles miss, and he's still rocketing towards the ground. So as a druid, Owben can shapeshift into animals. So he tells me in his desperation, and it was a very desperate moment for him, he was very nervous. He's like, I turned into a flying squirrel. Really?
Okay.
Now, again, technically, he can't do that by the rules. It's not something he can turn into, but I'm the DM. I can run with this.
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay, you're a flying squirrel. The wyvern takes notice.
Because flying squirrel is tasty.
Snack. And so now the wyvern is trying to get him while he's gliding along.
Being very flying squirrel-like.
Yeah, and
in the ensuing dogfight.
so now one giant eagle is trying to catch this flying squirrel, while the other giant eagle is trying to defend its master. So there's a dogfight between a wyvern and a giant eagle, and there's a flying squirrel and another giant eagle coming in on it.
Trying to see it, because it's only that big. He was a full-size man, but now he's only this little thing. So.
Right, so here we go. Whoa, and the giant, it's gliding, so it's a little bit easier to catch him now. So he's like,
touch and go.
Here he comes. Giant eagle's going to come, and as I'm rolling to roll the attack, it's not really an attack, he's not going to cause damage, but it's just to see if he catches him. He gets this brilliant idea. He's like, I shift back into a human form. So now imagine, follow me here. Flying squirrel.
I got him.
Giant eagle's like, I got him. Human. Now it's not a gliding squirrel that he can just kind of grab in his talons gently and fly away with. Now it's this plummeting human.
Crap!
Where'd he go?
Bring it around, Tom.
And so now Owben is rocketing towards the ground once more while, again, dogfight is happening. And the other giant eagle's like, oh boy.
Boy, I'm glad I didn't take that half.
So, circles back around. At this point, Owben is getting very close to the ground. But not only that, the lookouts at the castle notice this dogfight between some giant eagles and a wyvern and this shape-shifting
plummeting human
being. And so they call everybody.
Everybody.
Everybody in the castle, well, nearly everybody. There were some individuals that are not fond of sunlight that didn't show up, but everybody, including the major boss of the castle, the one that they're trying to sneak up on and whatnot.
The one that knows us all by sight. Oh dear.
Is on the battlements watching this happen, and people are starting to take bets on whether this person will survive.
Yeah, he's low enough to smell the pine.
And I gave the party an opportunity, to bet against some NPCs of whether he would survive or not, and this and that. And this is a recurring theme. Whenever there's a chance to bet on the party, I allow it and see what happens. Maybe they make some money, maybe they don't. So anyway, plummeting human coming in for the giant eagle. Well, luckily for him, this next go around was much smoother. So he's plummeting again, and he immediately turns back into a flying squirrel, using up the last of his opportunities to shapeshift for that day. Now he's completely tapped out. He's used everything he possibly could to survive, and in the process made it more difficult for himself.
Even the eagle was cussing him by now.
Yeah. Make up your mind! So, dogfighting ensuing, the giant eagle comes in, this time he doesn't shift, and the eagle catches him and flies him to the castle. Now he's
Hooray.
Now he's safe. The giant eagle, he's over the castle now. Kid turns back into a human. Giant eagle dumps him on the battlements, And now there's a problem.
Little
Because
problem.
this person has arrived late to the party. And so the guards come up on him and like, you need to identify yourself. You know, these are evil people, and you just landed at their castle without any announcement, but with much fanfare. And so they've got spears on them, and the rest of the party is like,
we don't know him.
We don't know him. We don't see you, because there is this half-dragon who is very, very interested in this individual. Now, she doesn't recognize this individual because Matt's old character is the one she would recognize. This new one is brand new, so she doesn't know him from Adam. So the rest of the party's like, okay, yeah. Hope she doesn't look. And so the guards are there and, you know, poking him with spears, and all he had to say was the passcode. And I'd reminded the players, not the characters, but the players earlier that evening what the passcode was. Look, when you get to the castle, you need to say this. If you say this, you will get in safely. But he forgets. And this is a problem.
Well,
He's
his spur of the moment try was rather glorious in its own right.
So this is how the conversation goes. Who are you and what are you doing here? Oh, well, I was late, and so I had to take the griffin, and you kind of saw the rest of what happened, the wyvern, and, you know, it was bad, you know, and I have a really, you know, very important message. I can't tell, you know, just anybody. I have to, you know, I need to talk to the leader, this and that, you know, like, really important message.
Now, the leader is right there. Can't miss him. Armor and all. Oh dear.
Big black half-dragon. And so she walks up, she's like, really? Do you know who I am? And he's looking up, and he's looking up at her, and it's like, yes? You're, Resmir? Yes, I am. This important message? You can tell me. It's like, oh, well, you know, it's really secret, you know, maybe it's like, you can tell me.
Now.
And again, all he had to say was, you know, like, hey, this is the password, I was late, you know, crazy stuff happened, let's move on. And no, he comes out with,
But
the Allies have invaded the beaches of Normandy.
ta-da!
The what?
Everybody at the table looked at each other like, what? And then we looked the other way and said, what?
And then we looked at the DM.
And the DM is over there. You could see the... I had never seen blood pressure spike like that in my life.
and I tell him, like, and I had to compose myself. It's like, okay, we're going to rewind time here, and I'm going to give you one chance to come up with a better story. And he's scrambling, and I can't even remember exactly what he said because the other thing was so preposterous that that's what sticks in my mind. But he comes up with something really lame. And Resmir, the black, at this point, Resmir and me as the DM are one and the same. We're just completely, what? And being that Resmir's evil, I wanted to just kill him because I think that that's a thing that she would have done, is just like chucked him over the edge and is like, good luck! But at the same time, this was a new character. You know, he played it a total of, this was his second week because the first week his dad played for him.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Did a good job. But you know, I didn't want to kill the new character off that fast, so I was like, all I could think was just the kobolds. Go find the kobolds. They are now in charge of you. I do not want to hear about you messing up or trying to escape or disobeying their orders, because I will find you and I will kill you myself. Do you know how bad you gotta mess up to get kobolds put in charge of you? We're talking little dog creatures that they just get sent out to die. They're not that bright.
The kobolds in this case do all the menial tasks in the castle, the cooking, the cleaning, etc. And now they have a new dishwasher.
Who is supposed to be more intelligent and more capable than them. I mean, at this point, they're level, what, 5 or 6?
Ish, somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there. I mean, they're moderately high level. I mean, if in a combat situation, he would destroy most of them. Just completely obliterate them. But no, he's messed up so bad, the kobolds are in charge. Well,
moving on.
But wait, there's more to this little snippet of the story, and we'll call it a night. He decides to grovel. Now, have you ever been in front of a person or a thing that just radiates anger and rage, and you're just like, I think it would be good if I just left now?
You would think.
You would think. Not this guy. I mean,
He tried.
Yeah, he tried.
But
he's like, oh, thank you, you know, this and that, kiss the hem of her robe. And it's
at least she didn't pin his head to the floor with a dagger.
well, that would have been the, you know, I'm trying to kill him and I'm trying to avoid that. She's like, go now, and kicks him down a flight of stairs.
And it's like, boy, he messed up. Even the cultists felt bad, because they're like, boy, he's getting it.
Yeah, and the rest of the group is, you know, they can't just leave. That would be kind of conspicuous. And I think one of them yelled like, yeah, get him. You know, I don't know. It's just, they don't want to attract attention.
Being one of the few dwarves actually in the courtyard, they spent the entire time with a crate hoisted on one shoulder, like this, facing away from everybody, because I'm carrying the box and nobody can see my face. I'm going to go over there where there's something important, I'm sure.
Yeah, and everybody else is inspecting gear or, you know, hiding behind people.
Hide behind the tall people. There you go.
Yeah, and so that was our little adventure of arriving at the castle. Most of the party, safe, sound, no problem. You know, they did their thing, they said their piece, they got in, sneaky, no problem. But Owben, oh boy.
Poor guy.
Yeah. Although, to be fair, it did provide us plenty of ammunition for this current episode. So thank you, Matt.
Way to go, buddy.
So in the next episode, we'll talk about the adventures that they have on the castle itself, and in particular, the adventure that Matt has, dealing with the kobolds. That epic saga.
Epic saga, yes.
Yes.
That's up there. It's up there with Quest for Fire.
That epic saga will be
more like Quest for Ham Sandwich.
Yeah, it'll be in the next episode. So thank you for watching this episode. Please, you know, if you enjoyed the video, give us a like. Leave a comment if there's something you feel like we should improve on. Share the video with your friends. And you can follow us on social media. Links to our Facebook and our Twitter will be in the description below. So until next episode, remember, but wait,
there's more.